Hey folks, this is Lee from the Upper Darby Township Library coming to you with this month's Teen Craft Center project. We are going to be painting rocks to look like space, and with a magnet attached to the back, they can be a really cool fridge magnet. So we are going to use a couple of different colors of paint. We are going to use if you got a kit from the seller's library, your rock already has magnets on the back of it. I'm going to hot glue mine to show you, just in case you don't have a kit at home and you just want to use your own rocks and your own paint and your own magnets. Totally cool. Pretty simple craft to do with the stuff that you can get on your own. But if you have a kit, don't worry about that step because you've already got your magnets attached. So here's what we've got today. We've got the rock, right? And what I found in attaching magnets to rocks is that they are perhaps just as heavy as you think that they are, perhaps heavier even, because a rock this size, like that fits in the palm of my hand, needs several magnets. So a lot of the rocks that I used for the kits need several magnets. So yeah, if you find a rock that is big enough to like paint a nice scene on, it's probably going to need a few magnets. But that's what we've got. We've got some paint. I've got black. I'm using acrylic paint today so it sticks to the rock and doesn't wash off. We don't want to use washable paint for this. I've got white for stars. And I've got some like purple and blue to add some like texture to the night sky. I've got a little tray here to put my colors in. I've got a sponge paintbrush to do like the big strokes, and a little paintbrush to do like spatter for the stars. We'll get to that. And again, I've got some magnets and a hot glue gun. So, if you have a kit, you've got these different colors, you've got little containers of them. You're welcome to pour a little bit out if you don't want to like contaminate it and keep it to use for another time. That's totally legit. If you don't want to be that careful with it and just want to use the container you've got, you can also totally do that. So you do you, whatever works for you. I'm going to start with putting a little bit of black paint in my tray so I can get started with that. And I don't know how long it's going to take for each layer to dry, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, let's get started. So I've got my, you know what I really need? I need something to put down on this table so I don't get paint all over it. I will be back in a moment. One thing that you need to know about this paint is that it is not like easily washable, right? It's gonna stain your fingers, it's gonna stain your clothes if you get them on there, it's gonna stain like your carpet. So definitely you wanna put something down so that you're protecting yourself and you're protecting the area that you're painting in, because I don't want you getting paint everywhere and then like not being able to get it up. So definitely be careful of that. All right, so I've got a bunch of paper towels now. So I'm gonna put a bunch of paper towels down, sort of overlapping so that I don't make a giant mess on this table. Because if you know me, you know that I am prone to making a giant mess. So I'm gonna overlap these bad boys. So I've got plenty of space, plenty of room for error. All right, pretty good shape here. One big one in front. Okay, awesome. Okay, great. So I'm gonna put my paint on here and I'm gonna put my rock on here. We're all good. We have our safe area for painting now. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm just gonna get a little bit on the tip of my brush here. And if you have a kit, you have just some regular sponges, which will work just as well. You just like hold them from one end and paint with the other end. Totally good. But this makes it go pretty darn quickly. You just want to like get some paint on there. At this point, we don't have to be like super careful because this is just our base layer, right? Like this is just the blackness of the night sky, right? So you want to make sure you like get all in the nooks and crannies because rocks have nooks and crannies a lot of times. But yeah, we're just, and I'm not gonna do the back of mine, just so it doesn't stick to the paper and I have someplace to put my hands and whatnot. If you want to paint it all the way around yours, go for it. But I'm not gonna worry about all of that. So I'm just about done here. Okay, awesome. Okay, so that's my base layer. It looks like that. It's pretty dark. I don't think I'm gonna have to do like a second layer or anything. So I'm gonna turn off the camera so you don't have to sit here with me and watch paint dry. And I'll be back in a minute once that layer is dry. All right, we are back. My paint is pretty dry. My brush is rinsed out and mostly dry, so we are good to go with the next section, which is where it's gonna get slightly more complicated and artistic. So, what we're gonna do is get our both blue and purple paints ready. So I'm gonna put some purple paint, oh Lord. Some purple paint in one of these guys. And some blue paint in another one. All right, now what you want to do is take your sponge, again I have a sponge brush, take your sponge and dip like one part of it in one color and one part in another color, okay? And then we're just sort of gonna like smush it around, like you don't want to muddle it too much, but it's just like more of a like feeling. Okay, we'll see how it goes. All right, I'm not an expert painter, and that is going to show, but that's all right. So, just like, and I might go back and add some black because I think that I have too much color, because this looks sort of more like an Easter egg than the night sky. But this is what I've got right now. Again, I'm going to go back and add some black. I'll just go ahead and do that now. See what happens. A little trial and error at this point. I want some more blue. Well. So that looks, I think, a little bit better. So if you're like super awesome at painting and you want to do something like paint like a little alien or a flying saucer flying across the sky, you can totally do that at the end. We have one more step to go before that. But if you want to just do something very abstract and sort of smudgy and like feelings, you know, then you can end up with something kind of like this, which is also totally fine, right? I'm pleased with this. So I'm going to give this a few minutes to dry, and then we're going to do the stars with the white. So what you're gonna need for that is the white paint and a little bit of water because we're gonna water it down. So we'll get there in a minute. I'll be back once my paint has dried again, and we'll do the last painting step unless you want to get super intricate and creative with it. So hold tight. Okay, all right, so we are back. My paint is dry. I think it looks pretty cool. Again, I am no great artist, so I didn't have like super high expectations, but I think it looks pretty cool. So the thing we're gonna do now is the stars. And again, you're gonna wanna have some paper down for this because it's gonna be slightly messy. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some white paint and thin it out a little bit with some water. And then like splatter it using a little paintbrush onto this. I'm just gonna like knock the paintbrush against my finger like this to sort of splatter, right? So here we go. White paint. And I'm just gonna do like a little dab of this. Okay, and I'm gonna use some water. Got a little cup here. I think I got a little bit more water than I needed to, so I'm going to get some of it out with this paper towel. All right, good deal. Okay, so set that right there. I'm going to use my paintbrush to just sort of mix this up a little bit. Until I've got like a really thin sort of white paint. Okay. Got it on my paintbrush. Takes a minute. All right, good enough. So, like I said, and I might have to like rotate my rock as I go. So we'll just see how it goes, right? All right, so. All right. So it's going sort of, all around, which is not unexpected because I'm splattering, like I said. So I'm getting like different sized dots in different areas. Oh, some on the table. I'm gonna turn my rock so I don't have to like reach as far. And you can do as much or as little, as you feel like doing, right? This is your night sky. I'm gonna do a little bit more and then that'll probably be good. All right, cool. So this is what I ended up with. I think it looks pretty cool. Now I have some cleanup to do because this is not my table and then there's some paint splattered on it. And then when I come back, once my paint is dried, I'm gonna hot glue the magnets on the back and then we'll be done. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so my white spatters have dried and look like that. And I'm ready to hot glue my magnets on the back. Now, again, if you have a kit, this part is done for you already because I couldn't send you home with a hot glue gun. But if you are gathering your own materials and you've got your own rocks and your own magnets and whatnot, awesome. And here's how to hot glue the magnets on the back. Okay, so you start with your hot glue gun right here. There we go. Okay, so what I did was I put down like a pretty good layer, and you have to go pretty quickly because it cools off and dries up relatively quickly. And then the important thing is to make sure that your magnets are flat, okay? Because if they're not flat, then they're not gonna work. Like if it's not like a flat magnet surface. If it's like bent or buckled like this, you're going to hit like one or the other, and it's not going to be enough magnet force on your fridge or your, whatever you're using it on. So the best way that I found to do that was to like get the glue on there, get the magnets on there, and then sort of like smash it onto the table, right? So that the table is making it flatten. And the hot glue dries pretty quickly. It like dries to like a working level within a couple of minutes, right? So now I've got something that looks like that. Okay, but if you look at it, you've got a lot of like gaps. Let's see if you can sort of see that. Sort of gaps around the edges, right? And for me, I want to fill those with hot glue so that it is like as good a seal, as much adhesive as possible. So then I go around and go around the edges with the hot glue gun again, right? So again, you can't see that. Hold on just a second. There we go. Again, this is a short cord attached to the wall. So what I'm gonna do, if you can see that a little bit, is just go around all the edges and get some glue like up in there. And hot glue is not just a funny name for this. It's literally hot. So be careful with your fingers. I have one that is labeled low heat, and it definitely still burns a little bit. So if you don't have one that says low heat, it's probably very hot. So just be careful of that. And I'm just getting rid of any like spider webby bits around the edges. I don't even know if you can see that, but the sort of trails look like little spider webby bits. So I'm just getting rid of that. So now I've got something that looks more like that all around the edges so that it'll seal well, and hopefully it won't come off. If you do mess it up and need to start over, it is not the end of the world. It takes a little bit of strength, but you can pull them off and start over. So if you find that you're like, oh, these magnets are not flat, I don't have enough and I need to make space for another one, whatever the case, you can totally pry them off and start over and like get the hot glue off of them pretty easily. But hopefully it'll stick as long as you want it to. And there you go, all done. So I have a magnet that looks like a night sky on one side. I've got magnets on the other side, and it is ready to put on my fridge and hold many, many things onto my fridge. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that yours is as creative and beautiful as you want it to be. Again, if you want to go all out and draw like some aliens across the night sky, or just some like silhouettes of trees or people, whatever, owls, wolves, you do you, right? This is your project. Go for it. And if you want to share pictures with us, we would love to see it. I hope you enjoyed this craft project. I certainly did. And we will see you next month at Teen Craft Center. Take care. Bye.